Imagine stepping into a world where every detail is meticulously crafted, from sparkling chandeliers to intricately designed menus. Servers glide through expansive dining rooms with perfect precision, and the aroma of decadent desserts mingles with the savory scent of signature dishes. This isn't just a restaurant. This is the Cheesecake Factory, an empire built on ambition, resilience, and a vision that transformed one woman's passion into a multi-billion-dollar American brand. And it all began in a small home kitchen, an unassuming start that would eventually redefine casual dining in the United States. The story of the Cheesecake Factory starts with Evelyn Overton, who began baking cheesecakes in her Detroit kitchen back in the 1940s. Her recipes were rich, creamy, and already legendary among her friends and neighbors. But it was her son, David Overton, who saw the potential to turn her passion into a full-fledged business. In the 1970s, David convinced his parents to move to Los Angeles and open a small bakery. He had a grand vision: to combine luxurious desserts, a vast menu, and an immersive dining experience into a single, captivating brand. The first challenge was monumental. How do you scale a home bakery recipe into consistent, large-scale production? Every single cheesecake needed to maintain that perfect texture, sweetness, and balance of flavors, while being produced in quantities large enough to satisfy what David hoped would be a massive customer base. Their production kitchen became a laboratory of innovation. They tested ovens, ingredients, and processes relentlessly until they achieved perfection. David knew that quality and consistency were non-negotiable. But cheesecakes alone wouldn't be enough to build the empire he envisioned. David understood that to create a truly successful restaurant, the experience had to be just as extraordinary as the food. Every detail mattered: the ambient lighting, the spacing between tables, the design of the menu, and the style of service were all carefully calibrated to create an experience that felt upscale yet completely approachable. This philosophy became the core DNA of the Cheesecake Factory, setting it apart from competitors who focused only on food or price. In 1978, the very first Cheesecake Factory restaurant opened its doors in Beverly Hills, California. It was an immediate sensation. People came for the desserts, of course, but they stayed for the grandeur of the dining rooms and the sheer breadth of the menu, which featured over 200 items ranging from classic American fare to globally inspired dishes. This incredible combination of menu variety, quality, and atmosphere created a fiercely loyal customer base that returned again and again. Word of mouth spread like wildfire, fueled by media coverage, glowing reviews, and the simple uniqueness of the dining experience. Despite this early success, the journey was far from easy. Expansion required not only a lot of capital, but also a strict adherence to those high-quality standards. Each new location faced the challenge of replicating the design, atmosphere, and culinary excellence of the flagship restaurant in Beverly Hills. David Overton was insistent that expansion would never compromise the integrity of the brand. Every detail, from the layout of the kitchen to the style of plating, was documented and standardized to ensure a consistent experience for customers nationwide. Financial hurdles were another constant struggle. Opening a Cheesecake Factory was incredibly expensive. You had real estate costs, elaborate interior design, staffing, and sourcing high-quality ingredients, all of which demanded careful financial planning. The company relied on disciplined, strategic growth, avoiding any shortcuts that could compromise the quality they were known for. Many investors were skeptical at first. They questioned whether Americans would truly embrace a dining concept that combined luxury desserts with such an extensive menu and elaborate interiors. Yet, David Overton remained steadfast, believing that this kind of experience-driven dining was the future. The 1980s and 1990s marked a period of strategic expansion. New locations multiplied throughout California before spreading to other states. Each new restaurant quickly became a community hub, a place where families celebrated milestones, friends gathered for weekend dinners, and couples enjoyed romantic evenings. The Cheesecake Factory wasn't just serving food. It was creating memorable experiences that people associated with celebration, indulgence, and quality. Operational excellence became the backbone of this growth. David Overton invested heavily in training programs, ensuring that every server, chef, and manager understood and embodied the brand's philosophy. Employees were empowered to enhance the customer experience, from recommending dishes to accommodating special requests. This reinforced the idea that a visit to the Cheesecake Factory was more than just a meal, it was an event. This dedication to service excellence was a key differentiator. By the late 1990s, the Cheesecake Factory had become a household name. Its success was no longer confined to California. The brand had expanded nationally, with dozens of locations across the United States. Sales figures climbed steadily, and the company's net worth began to reflect its immense popularity and operational discipline. Investors and analysts finally started to take serious notice, praising the brand for its incredible ability to combine large-scale growth with consistent quality, a feat that very few restaurant chains could ever achieve. Yet, with growth came new challenges. Competition intensified, both from other casual dining chains and from more upscale restaurants. Consumer expectations were also evolving. People started demanding more diverse menus, healthier options, and even more exceptional service. The Cheesecake Factory responded by continually innovating. They introduced seasonal items, expanded their beverage offerings, and kept the massive menu feeling fresh and exciting. They also embraced technology, implementing digital reservation systems, online ordering, and loyalty programs to enhance customer engagement without compromising that special in-restaurant experience. Throughout all this growth, employee culture remained a central focus. The company made a point to nurture talent internally, creating clear opportunities for advancement and leadership development. Recognition programs were put in place to reward exceptional service, reinforcing a culture of excellence from the top down. This approach ensured that as the company scaled, the human element, that warmth, attentiveness, and energy that defined the brand remained intact. The financial performance continued to impress. By the 2000s, the Cheesecake Factory had achieved multi-billion-dollar revenues, a testament to both the strength of its operational model and its deep connection with consumers. The company went public, and its stock became publicly traded, which further fueled expansion while providing the resources needed to enhance menu innovation, interior design, and the overall customer experience. Analysts frequently highlighted the company's unique ability to balance rapid growth with consistent quality and brand integrity, a powerful combination that sustained its competitive advantage for years. When it came to international expansion, the company was cautious. David Overton and his leadership team understood that the Cheesecake Factory's brand was deeply tied to American culture, menu preferences, and dining expectations. They only considered markets with compatible tastes and dining habits. The first international locations required extensive training, adaptation of the supply chain, and meticulous operational oversight to ensure that each restaurant mirrored the energy, service, and quality of the U.S. locations. By the 2010s, the Cheesecake Factory had become a true symbol of upscale casual dining. It was admired for its incredible attention to detail, its unwavering consistency, and its ability to create memorable dining experiences time and time again. Its net worth reflected decades of disciplined growth, customer loyalty, and operational excellence. The brand had established itself not just as a restaurant chain, but as an institution in the American dining landscape. Of course, challenges persisted. Economic fluctuations, rising food costs, labor shortages, and changing consumer dining habits all required nimble and forward-thinking leadership. Yet, the Cheesecake Factory demonstrated remarkable resilience, leveraging its powerful operational systems, its excellent training programs, and its loyal customer base to navigate any uncertainty. Its reputation for quality and experience acted as a buffer, maintaining customer trust even during the most challenging economic times. The legacy of this first part of the Cheesecake Factory's story is clear. From a small home bakery to a national powerhouse, the brand succeeded because of vision, discipline, and a relentless focus on the customer experience. Every cheesecake baked, every detail in the dining room, every training program, and every menu innovation contributed to a brand that completely redefined casual dining in America. And yet, this was only the beginning. The foundation had been laid, the first chapters of struggle and triumph had been written, and the stage was set for a story of even more rapid national expansion, an IPO, operational mastery, and lasting cultural impact. What followed would determine if the Cheesecake Factory could maintain its unique identity while scaling to even greater heights. Picture this. It's the late 1980s. The Cheesecake Factory is a sensation in Beverly Hills, but its founder, David Overton, is standing at a crossroads. He's asking himself a question that will shape the future of American dining. Can this incredible, over-the-top experience with its massive menu, luxurious decor, and of course, those legendary cheesecakes actually be replicated all across the country? This wasn't like franchising a burger joint. The Cheesecake Factory was a full-service, sit-down restaurant with over 200 items on its menu. Each location was a multi-million-dollar investment, a grand stage that needed to be built from scratch. But Overton had a core belief: quality and consistency could never be sacrificed, even if it meant growing slower than everyone else. So the expansion began, but cautiously. The first moves outside California weren't just about picking a city with a lot of people, it was a science. David Overton himself would visit potential sites, analyzing everything from parking availability to the local dining scene. A location had to do more than just make money. It had to be a place where the magic of the original restaurant could be reborn. To make this happen, operational excellence became the new mantra. Kitchens were designed like fine-tuned machines, efficient, but never at the cost of quality. Recipes were standardized, and training programs were formalized to immerse every single employee, from managers to servers, in the brand's culture. They weren't just serving food. They were creating an unforgettable experience. By the mid-1990s, the strategy was clearly working. The Cheesecake Factory had successfully opened in states like Arizona, Nevada, and even the tough market of New York. The media couldn't get enough of the lavish interiors and that famously long menu. People were driving for miles and waiting in line for hours, not just for a meal but for the experience. The brand was no longer just a restaurant, it was a destination. But with this national recognition came a whole new set of challenges. How do you get fresh ingredients, from premium dairy to perfect cuts of meat, to dozens of locations every single day? The answer was a massive investment in a centralized supply chain system. Every delivery, every inventory check was scrutinized. A small mistake could tarnish the reputation they had worked so hard to build. Another huge piece of the puzzle was labor. With such a complex and extensive menu, you couldn't just hire anyone. You needed skilled chefs and a kitchen staff that moved in perfect sync. The company invested heavily in training, teaching not just recipes but the art of kitchen efficiency, plating, and sanitation. Servers were trained to know the story behind the dishes, so they could share that passion with every customer. This dedication to its people paid off, creating a loyal and highly skilled workforce. Then, in 1992, came a pivotal moment. The Cheesecake Factory went public on the stock market under the ticker symbol CAKE. This IPO injected a huge amount of cash into the company, fueling an even faster expansion. But it also brought the intense pressure of Wall Street, with its quarterly earnings reports and constant scrutiny from investors. This is where David Overton's leadership was truly tested. Under pressure to grow faster and cut costs, he refused to compromise. He insisted that every new restaurant, no matter where it was, had to meet the same sky-high standards as the very first one. This unwavering commitment to consistency became their ultimate competitive advantage in a sea of other casual dining chains, and they didn't stop innovating. While the cheesecakes were still the star, the menu was constantly evolving. New dishes, seasonal specials, and customer feedback kept things fresh and exciting. It was a delicate balance, giving regulars the classics they loved while always offering something new to discover. This strategy ensured that diners never got bored and always felt confident in the quality they were getting. By the early 2000s, the Cheesecake Factory had become a true American powerhouse. With locations stretching from coast to coast, brand awareness was through the roof. Revenues climbed steadily, and even Wall Street analysts had to applaud them for achieving something rare, massive growth without losing their soul. Of course, competition was heating up. Other chains tried to copy the formula, the big menus, the fancy interiors, but few could replicate the secret sauce, the operational discipline, and the deeply ingrained company culture that Overton had built. He proved that prioritizing the customer experience over speed was a winning long-term strategy. The company also became a leader in employee retention, a huge problem in the restaurant industry. By offering career development, profit sharing, and a culture of excellence, they built a loyal team that was directly responsible for the brand's success. The financial growth during this era was nothing short of remarkable. By the mid-2000s, with hundreds of locations and revenues in the billions, the Cheesecake Factory was a titan of the industry. Their marketing focused on what made them special: the experience, the desserts, the grand atmosphere, rather than just competing on price. They were selling a memory, not just a meal. But the challenges never stopped. Rising food costs and changing consumer tastes meant they had to keep adapting. They embraced technology with online reservations and mobile apps, enhancing the customer journey without losing that special in-restaurant feel. Through it all, a relentless focus on quality control ensured that the brand never wavered from its promise of excellence. By the late 2000s, the Cheesecake Factory had cemented its legacy. Its story is a masterclass in how to scale a complex business without compromise. It's a testament to vision, discipline, and an obsession with the customer experience. They overcame hurdles that had crushed many other restaurant chains, proving that you can get big without selling out. But the story was far from over. Having conquered America, the world was now on the horizon. Questions about international expansion, brand legacy, and adapting to a new generation of diners loomed large. How could the Cheesecake Factory continue to grow without losing the magic that made it so special in the first place? That would be the challenge for the next chapter of this incredible story. By the early 2010s, the Cheesecake Factory wasn't just a restaurant, it was an American institution. With hundreds of locations from coast to coast, it had mastered the art of delivering a consistent, immersive dining experience. But for founder David Overton and his team, national success was just the beginning. The real challenge, the true mark of a legacy brand, lay in global expansion. The first hurdle was clear: the Cheesecake Factory was quintessentially American. Its massive menu, generous portions, and indulgent atmosphere were deeply tied to U.S. dining culture. How could they export this experience without it getting lost in translation? The leadership team knew this couldn't be a rushed process. They approached it with extreme caution, meticulously studying demographics, dining habits, and market viability in potential new countries. The goal was to adapt without ever compromising the core identity of the brand. Operationally, the stakes were sky high. Every new international restaurant had to be a perfect mirror of its U.S. counterparts in quality, service, and ambiance. This was a monumental task. Recipes were standardized down to the gram. Kitchen layouts were redesigned for universal efficiency. And training programs were intensified, ensuring every single employee, whether a chef in Dubai or a server in Mexico City, could deliver that signature Cheesecake Factory experience. The supply chain became a global puzzle, solving for ingredient availability and freshness while maintaining the exact same taste and quality found back home. The first international frontiers were the Middle East and select markets in Asia. These regions brought their own unique set of challenges. Local tastes require subtle but crucial menu adjustments. For instance, certain bold flavors were toned down to better suit regional palates, while some local ingredients were thoughtfully incorporated, but only if they didn't alter the soul of a signature dish. Even small cultural details, like dining customs, table layouts, and different regulations on serving alcohol demanded careful and respectful planning. Every single detail was under a microscope, because one misstep could tarnish a reputation that took decades to build. Training the international teams became the cornerstone of the entire strategy. It wasn't enough to just send over a training manual. Managers and key staff were brought in for rigorous immersion programs. They didn't just learn recipes. They learned the philosophy of hospitality, the obsession with detail that had made the American restaurants legendary. The leadership team understood a powerful truth: you can't export culture in a binder. It has to be lived and breathed by every employee, every day. Financially, going global was a high-stakes gamble. In many markets, the costs for prime real estate, custom interior design, complex logistics, and skilled labor were significantly higher than in the United States. David Overton had to perform a delicate balancing act, weighing the risks against the potential rewards and ensuring that every dollar invested was part of a sustainable long-term growth plan. Slowly but surely, the gamble paid off. The international locations began to contribute steadily to the company's revenue, proving the brand's global appeal. Marketing the brand overseas required its own brand of finesse. The Cheesecake Factory was positioned as a premium yet accessible, casual dining experience. Global campaigns were tailored to resonate with local cultures and values. Social media, partnerships with local influencers, and carefully curated press events were all used to build brand awareness and, more importantly, credibility. The objective was simple. A customer walking into a Cheesecake Factory in Hong Kong should feel the exact same sense of excitement and indulgence as someone walking into the original Beverly Hills location. The lessons learned from decades of domestic growth proved to be invaluable on the world stage. The company's unwavering commitment to operational oversight, its fanatical attention to detail, and its strong, positive employee culture were the secret weapons that allowed it to navigate the complexities of international business. When challenges arose, from regulatory hurdles to sourcing difficulties, they were met with a structured problem-solving approach. This discipline and culture-driven strategy set the Cheesecake Factory apart from many competitors who often struggled to maintain consistency when they expanded abroad. By the mid-2010s, the mission was a resounding success. The Cheesecake Factory had established a strong presence in multiple countries, earning its place as a global symbol of upscale casual dining. The company's net worth soared, reflecting not just its domestic dominance but its proven international potential. Industry analysts were full of praise, highlighting the company's rare ability to maintain exceptional quality while scaling its operations on a global level, a feat very few restaurant chains have ever managed to achieve. Of course, no expansion story is without its risks. Economic downturns, fluctuating foreign exchange rates, and political instability in certain regions constantly tested the brand's resilience. But the leadership team was prepared, relying on a combination of financial prudence, operational rigor, and a flexible strategy to navigate the turbulence. Growth was always measured and deliberate. For the Cheesecake Factory, protecting the integrity of the brand was always more important than simply planting flags in new territories as quickly as possible. Meanwhile, back in the US, the evolution never stopped. Menu innovation remained a top priority. New seasonal items, exciting flavor profiles, and even region-specific specials were introduced to keep loyal customers engaged and intrigued. Limited-time cheesecake flavors, unique new beverages, and curated dining events all work together to reinforce customer loyalty and keep the brand feeling fresh and relevant in an increasingly crowded market. At the heart of it all, both at home and abroad, was the employee culture. Recognition programs, clear paths for career advancement, and cross-training initiatives kept staff motivation and skill levels exceptionally high. The leadership firmly believed that a happy, knowledgeable, and empowered workforce was the single most critical factor in delivering a consistent guest experience anywhere in the world. In their eyes, every employee, from a busser in Chicago to a pastry chef in Kuwait, was a guardian of the brand's precious reputation. Financially, the Cheesecake Factory had transformed into a multi-billion-dollar enterprise. Investors on Wall Street recognized the brand's stability, its powerful revenue streams, and its disciplined, intelligent growth strategy. Analysts often pointed to the company's rare combination of operational complexity and cultural consistency, noting how difficult it was to maintain such high standards during rapid expansion. The brand also faced new pressures from a rapidly changing industry. Consumers were demanding healthier options, faster service, and more digital conveniences. The Cheesecake Factory responded strategically, but carefully. They integrated online ordering, reservation apps, and loyalty programs, but only in ways that enhanced, rather than diluted, the core in-restaurant experience that defined the brand. Every piece of new technology was vetted to ensure it served the guest, not the other way around. Culturally, the Cheesecake Factory had a profound and lasting impact on the American dining landscape. It popularized the very idea of destination dining in a casual setting, a place where the meal was just one part of a larger experience filled with unique ambiance, exceptional service, and a feeling of special occasion indulgence. Competitors tried to imitate pieces of the formula: the large menus, the lavish interiors, the dessert focus, but none could replicate the holistic magical experience that made the Cheesecake Factory, the Cheesecake Factory. This era of the company's story is a masterclass in leadership foresight. David Overton's relentless focus on vision, culture, and operational excellence is what allowed the brand to go global without losing its soul. He proved that true growth isn't just about revenue. It's about preserving the very essence of what makes your brand beloved in the first place. The company's legacy was now growing right alongside its financial metrics. Its net worth was a reflection of decades of disciplined hard work, but its brand equity, that intangible value, was rooted in culture, experience, and the deep loyalty of millions. Locations became more than just restaurants. They were social hubs, chosen by families and friends for celebrations and creating memories. Looking forward, sustainability and corporate responsibility also became key parts of the strategic plan. The company began integrating more responsible ingredient sourcing, energy efficiency programs, and community engagement into its operations. Leadership understood that modern consumers value brands that do good in the world, and the Cheesecake Factory adapted to meet that expectation. So, by the end of this chapter, the picture is crystal clear. The Cheesecake Factory was no longer just an American success story. It had become a true global brand with rock-solid operations, a powerful culture, and formidable financial strength. The careful, delicate balance of expansion and quality control, of innovation and tradition, has secured its place as a benchmark for the entire industry. But even with a global presence and billions in revenue, the story was far from over. New challenges were on the horizon: constantly evolving dining trends, fierce competition, and the perpetual need to innovate without compromising the brand's core identity. By the 2010s, the Cheesecake Factory wasn't just a dining powerhouse in America. It had become a global brand with locations spanning the globe. But its visionary founder, David Overton, knew that past success is no guarantee of future relevance. The restaurant industry was changing fast. Customer tastes were shifting, competition was getting tougher, and technology was completely rewriting the rules of dining. The big question was, how could the Cheesecake Factory stay iconic while adapting to a new era? The answer was innovation. The company began to thoughtfully expand its already massive menu, introducing new flavors, seasonal specials, and even health-conscious options. While the classic cheesecakes and signature dishes remained the heart of the brand, the menu evolved. Gluten-free, vegetarian, and lighter dishes appeared alongside the indulgent classics. This meant that every single person walking through their doors, no matter their dietary preference, could find something truly memorable to eat. Adapting to technology was just as critical. The Cheesecake Factory rolled out online ordering, mobile apps, and digital reservations, making everything more convenient without losing that special full-service experience. They launched loyalty programs and targeted marketing campaigns to keep customers coming back, building a community around the brand. But they were smart about it. Digital tools were there to enhance the experience, not replace the human touch that made the restaurant so beloved in the first place. Of course, competition at home was fierce. Other casual dining chains, trendy fast casual startups, and new food fads were constantly popping up, challenging the Cheesecake Factory to stay ahead. But their response was rooted in their core philosophy: never, ever compromise on quality, experience, or culture. Their intense focus on operational excellence, constant menu innovation, and genuine employee engagement were the secret weapons that kept them at the top of their game. Internationally, the brand expanded with careful strategic planning. New locations in the Middle East, Asia, and parts of Europe weren't just cookie-cutter copies. They required extensive staff training and deep market research. Each new country had its own tastes, dining customs, and local rules. But the core essence of the Cheesecake Factory experience was always preserved. The signature dishes, the grand decor, and the high standards of service remained consistent, creating a powerful and recognizable global brand identity. None of this would have been possible without the right people. Employee culture was the engine driving this excellence. The company invested heavily in professional development, career growth, and recognition programs. Staff were encouraged to take real ownership of the guest experience, reinforcing the idea that every employee is a guardian of the brand's reputation. The leadership team knew that a motivated, well-trained workforce was just as important as the food on the plate or the design of the dining room. Financially, the Cheesecake Factory was a fortress. We're talking multi-billion-dollar revenues, healthy profit margins, and a dominant market presence that reflected incredibly disciplined management. Wall Street analysts praised the brand for its rare ability to expand rapidly while maintaining remarkable consistency. A challenge that has caused so many other restaurant chains to stumble and fall. The company's net worth and market value didn't just reflect its size. They reflected the immense intangible value of its reputation, its brand equity, and its deeply loyal customer base. Their marketing strategy was brilliant because it was never about discounts or cheap gimmicks. It was about telling a story. Campaigns highlighted the magnificent interiors, the incredibly diverse menu, and of course, those legendary desserts. They positioned the Cheesecake Factory as a premium yet accessible dining destination. Social media, influencer partnerships, and positive press coverage all reinforced this aspirational image, connecting with both longtime fans and new audiences who wanted to be part of the experience. But the legacy of the Cheesecake Factory goes far beyond just numbers on a balance sheet. It completely redefined what casual dining could be in America. It elevated the entire experience through an obsessive attention to detail, operational mastery, and an unwavering commitment to hospitality. Families, friends, and tourists didn't just go there for a meal. They went there to create memories, to celebrate milestones, and to share social experiences that stayed with them long after the last bite of cheesecake was gone. The brand became the benchmark for experience-driven dining, influencing countless competitors and shaping the entire industry. Its cultural impact was massive. By combining upscale desserts, a menu that seemed to go on forever, and immersive, theatrical interiors, the Cheesecake Factory set a standard that many have tried to copy, yet very few have ever succeeded. Replicating that unique combination of massive scale, consistent quality, and a deeply ingrained culture proved to be an almost impossible task. You can see its influence everywhere in the casual dining world. Today other chains have adopted similar elements like menu diversity or focus on desserts. But the authenticity and consistency of the Cheesecake Factory remain in a class of their own. As the years went on, sustainability and corporate responsibility became even more important. The leadership team emphasized responsible sourcing of ingredients, energy-efficient operations, and deep community engagement. This aligned the brand with the values of modern consumers, who increasingly want to support companies that share their ethical and environmental priorities. The Cheesecake Factory proved you could do good while still delivering an exceptional experience. Thinking about the future, leadership succession was a crucial piece of the puzzle. David Overton made sure that the company's core philosophy, its operational rigor, and its unique culture were embedded at every single level of management. This created a solid continuity plan, ensuring that future leaders could carry the torch and maintain the brand's integrity for generations to come. This foresight guaranteed that the Cheesecake Factory wouldn't just survive in a changing world, it would continue to thrive. The story of the Cheesecake Factory is a masterclass in balance, visionary leadership, disciplined execution, and a powerful culture. It's thus the story of how a small home bakery in Beverly Hills grew into a multi-billion-dollar global empire. It shows how consistency, innovation, and a relentless focus on the customer experience can create an impact that lasts for decades. Looking ahead, the Cheesecake Factory continues to innovate while honoring its incredible legacy. New locations, bold menu experiments, and new digital strategies are all designed to keep the brand relevant and exciting. But the founding principles remain unchanged. Deliver an exceptional dining experience, maintain operational excellence, and preserve the culture that made the brand legendary in the first place. Ultimately, the Cheesecake Factory is more than just a restaurant chain. It is a symbol of American entrepreneurial vision, of perseverance against all odds, and of the incredible power of experience-driven hospitality. Its story is a blueprint for anyone dreaming of building their own business, showing that true lasting success is built on a foundation of quality, culture, and customer loyalty, not on taking shortcuts. Its journey from a modest bakery to a global icon is a testament to what is possible when passion, discipline, and culture all come together. And as it moves into the future, one thing is for certain: the sizzle of those cheesecakes, the buzz of its lively dining rooms, and the joy of a memorable meal will continue to define this iconic brand for years to come. Thanks for watching.